Hey everyone, I'm Patrick Brown. Welcome to monthly project number 48, and the theme for this one is Pinup Girls. So yeah, I think it's really important for any artist to practice drawing the female figure, and there's a lot involved in that, and this is just a really fun example. So I'm looking forward to diving into this. Should be good. Let's check them out. Let's see what everyone's done. Each month I pick 3 submissions to critique. So congrats to Lofty, Mike and Eric. I'll give you some feedback towards the end of the video. Alright, our first pinup girl is from Brett, and you've done a raven-like kind of setup here. Really love the way you've done them crows. Yeah, she's looking really good. Nice dynamic pose there. Colouring is really cool. Nice work on that. Really love those hands too. You've done a great job on that. Next up, we've got Cyril. You've done a pinup of a motocross theme here. Really love your art. Super clean and crisp with those outlines. The girls are drawn really well. Love the anatomy. Everything's kind of coming together really nicely. It's just super clean. I really love the appealing look that you've got with that. You've done a really good job there, Cyril. And the next one we've got is from David. You got Princess Peach here, done in a pinup style. Very cool. This is drawn so well. That's what I really like about this. The drawing alone is just great. And I know it's not fully finished and coloured and all that stuff, but honestly, I just think this looks really well done, the way you've drawn that. Awesome work there, David. Love it. And next we've got Jacob. You've done this very sexy kind of pin-up here. This is awesome. Another example of just super clean work. And especially the snake and the scales in there, really nice. Look at all that effort put into the scales alone. Her hair is really standing out to me, and just the way that she's drawn as well is really well done. But that hair is beautiful, really cool. I love that work there. Awesome work, Jacob. And next up is Jason. Something About Mary. I love that movie. And you've got the likeness of Cameron Diaz down. That's really coming across strong there. Like it looks like her, and that's iconic. That movie scene there with the hair flick. Yeah, like this. I like the way she's got that attitude in her pose. It's really well drawn in that too. So you've done a really good job of that one, Jason. It looks just like her. Next up, we've got John. John, hey, welcome. I think you're a new patron, and this is really good. Look at the colouring in this. And you know what I really like is you've also got, I think you're going for that vintage theme, and I know that wasn't a must for this project theme, but the 1950s or 60s kind of theme is coming through here. She looks great. I like the anatomy, and the colours are just really nice. Supergirl, yeah, she looks cool. Really love that one. Awesome work there, John, and welcome. And next up, we've got Liam. And you've done... This is actually a really funny story. So Liam said he couldn't think of he was stuck on what to draw for the pinup, like a theme, or what kind of girl he would draw. And you mentioned that morning you just did the first thing that came into your head, which was watermelons, because you were just having some watermelon. And you were like, okay, I'm going to do a watermelon pinup girl. So yeah, I like that idea and the creativity of that, just on the spot, kind of like, let's draw this, which is really cool. And yeah, she looks great. I love the pose there. That's cool. All right, next up, we've got Andrew. And you've done, I believe this is that Triss from The Witcher? It is, isn't it? Really cool. This is so nice, like the way it's done, very professional looking. But she looks great, and the idea of the magic of the clothes, just like appearing on her or off. I don't know what it is, which way. It doesn't really matter. But that's cool. I like that. The way you've done the hair is really well rendered. Her face, beautiful overall. Really beautiful work. The way you've colorized some of the outlines around the edges and so on is a very nice touch as well. Yeah, the anatomy, everything is proportionally great. I've got nothing to say about that, like apart from positive stuff. So really well done there. I love that one, Andrew. And next is Patrick. We've got Patrick doing a pin-up girl here. Harley Quinn. This is really, really great. And I love the way you've done it. Yeah, I really like how, because she's always had that kind of pale white, kind of painted skin look to her, like the Joker. And it's cool how it kind of matches the backdrop. And I know I didn't pick this for a critique, but I want to give you a little tiny bit of feedback. If I had to pick anything, I'd probably say the outlines here, the black bold outlines that are holding it all together, I would have continued them just a little bit around some of the hands. Otherwise, it can kind of get a little bit too obvious that it's an extra big bold outline around the outside. And I know I've recommended it before to really hold a character together, but sometimes you could continue some of those bold lines just up to contain the torso a little bit, and it doesn't have to be around every single limb, but just even fade them or taper them down over that thumb there. Things like that is a really good tip. And like around here, it could continue a little bit around the jaw and under the chin, probably stop there. You don't want to have it super bold under a chin. But yeah, just tips like that I think are really good. And she looks great. And do you know what, Patrick, as well, because I know we've talked a lot about density in your work and stuff. You've really nailed it here. The contrast is spot on. Have a look at that contrast overall in the black and the reds, and then just overall really, really, really good work there, Patrick. I love that one. All right, next up we've got Paul, and you've done a really nice pin-up style here. What would you call this? 1940s, something like that. I don't know if it'd be earlier, 50s maybe. But this is phenomenal. Really, really nice work. You know, it's one of those ones where I would find it really hard to even critique. I just like the way she looks. If I had to say anything, I'd probably say, see the outlines that you've got around here? I'm finding that they're just starting to fade off a little bit too much. Almost like I think you've taken the opacity down on them. Either that, or you've had the layer mode set to luminosity and maybe lightened it just a little too much or something rather. But you see how some of the colors are breaking through in the outlines. It can just give it just a slightly rough look when you can see the breaks and where so a way to get around that is you could probably colorize, like make the outlines a color instead of see-through kind of, especially through the hands here. You see how it can kind of get a bit messy when it comes up through here, and the nails, the outlines are starting to fade off, like the opacity. But don't get me wrong, overall I do really like that lighter look. If those outlines were pitch black, this would have a whole different feel, and I like how you've got them lightened. So if you can get that lightened look but avoid that opacity, that would top this right off. Really top-notch work there, Paul. I love that. All right, next up we got Sai. You've done this is a black cat from Marvel. She looks really great. You know, I really love that pose. Super strong kind of pose there. And the way she's drawn is really well done. I love that. Love the way she looks there. Your artwork's awesome. And especially the color variations through her. It's not just like one tone. You've got a variation going right through her, through all of these. Very cool work. You've also got more. As always, Sai's got some more. You've got Harley Quinn here. And I know you mentioned in the email whether they were pin-uppy enough or not, to let me choose. There were a couple I didn't put in because they were just more actiony. This one's half pin-up, half not, I would say. Like, it's kind of Harley Quinn facing off against Batman. Still really cool. That's why I wanted to include it, because I just feel like this is something that we really need to show. I really love the way this is. So she looks really great. The way you've drawn her, coloring, top notch. I love it. Yeah, it needs to be a little more pin-uppy though. I don't know how you would do that, but yeah. This one here, perfect pin-up. She's great. This is your Eartha Kitt version of Catwoman there. Is it 1960s, is it? Is that when she was out then? And yeah, beautifully done. I really love this, especially the look in her eyes. She has that kind of that attitude's coming through, more the expression. You know what I mean? in her eyes is really great. Love that. And the cat is awesome rubbing up against her. It's so cool. Diamonds. Loving that texture. Yeah, this is a great piece. I really like that one. And you've got another one here of her in a different pose. That's cool. I love how you've just, I can tell that you're really enjoying it. And you've done another version. And I think she's your favorite Catwoman because I've seen you draw her before as well. This is cool. Really like it. All right. Next up, we've got Ty. And you've done the Kaiju Girl. I think you said this was your own kind of creation, a bit of inspired by a few different things that you mentioned in your email. And oh man, I really love your work. And the effort into detail is just so inspiring with your stuff. Like the way that you've just spent so much time doing all of this detail and the streaks. How cool is this? So cool. And the way that back arm is like silhouetted out, and then it really brings this forward. Like there's a lot of dimension and distance added into this. Her anatomy is really cool, super stylized. Wow, this is just amazing. Have a look at that backdrop too. Really, really top-notch work, this one here. Ty, you are just unreal. And you've got a second one here. This is Psylocke. And you've done a manga version of Psylocke. Looks like it just belongs straight into a manga comic book, doesn't it? Have a look at that sword. And all that detail, especially when you zoom in. Look at this. Have a look at that. All those manga textures thrown in. Top notch. I love that. The detail is insane. Yeah, you're unstoppable, Ty. I think that's just unbelievable. Really top-notch work there from everyone. I think you've done a really top-notch work there from everyone. I think you've all done a really good job. We're going to get into some of the critiques now and check those out, and we'll give you some feedback. All right, time for the critiques. And we're going to start off with Lofty. And you've actually done two pieces. Harley Quinn, which is really cool. I really like the way this is set up. And you've got Rogue here as well, throwing a jacket down. So I'll give you some feedback on both of these and kind of just jump between the two. We'll start with this one here. So I feel like she's good. I think the pose is fine, and it's got some attitude in it. And I can tell she's throwing that back. This back leg, it looks like we can't see it. And I know that it's probably the pose and it's supposed to be tucked behind here, but there should be hints of that leg. You know what I mean? And right now we can't see it. So it kind of just makes it feel a little odd. Do you know what I mean? Just slightly. So I'll just try and draw in, like, even if you'd need more of the hip shown slightly there. You'd have to have, and I think it would even help the pose as well, if you even had the back leg kind of thrown out slightly, like out the back, you know what I mean? And then had her kind of leaning on that, like it's arched up and then pushed through, do you know what I mean? And so she can kind of be like, on that foot, the legs kind of pushed back a little bit. You can have some of the anatomy thrown in there, but I think that would really, really help this piece. And now she's kind of twisting a little bit, like the legs pushed back, this one's slightly forward. I just think it helps the pose. I'll just like lightly color what I've just done there, just so you can get a better sense of that. There we go. It's just super rough, thrown in together, so you can see that leg. So with and without, you can kind of see there. I feel like that would help a lot. Another thing I'd probably recommend with this piece, let me just grab her. So I've just separated her from the backdrop, and I'll just put her in her own layer folder. Oh, we'll just merge them. Anyway, so she's separated. I just think the overall layout needs to be shifted. So she would need to be like even sized down slightly. See how her head is too close to the top of the page. Her feet are very too close like too close to the bottom. You kind of want to just give her a little bit more space around her, even slightly, like just push her down in space a little bit. Now that jacket would also, I would recommend just having it a little closer, maybe just so that it doesn't also get thrown off the page a bit. But yeah, just have her kind of centered a little bit more. She was just going off the page a little bit before. All right, another thing, because we've got this big orangey kind of backdrop here, which is fine, she kind of, her color tones need some work. So I'm going to go color balance, and the shadows could probably be a little cooler with a little magenta, I think. And the highlights could be more yellows and reds with a bit of magenta as well. And press OK. And then I'll also go saturation up to about 13, just a bit more. And I'll show you the difference in color. So I'll zoom in. So that was before and then after. Mainly look at around her face and her hair, before and after. Now I could probably desaturate the hair, I'm just noticing as well, because that shouldn't really have much color. It's supposed to be a white or a desaturated kind of grey. But yeah, that's better there. But yeah, I just felt like her colors were a little zapped. Needed a little bit more brightness, and having these colors with those tones now help fit with the scene. So it's more warmer tones, a bit of warmth into her, really. Yeah, and apart from that, I feel like the only other thing would be something to really help her as well here would be to get that backhand and just play around. You need to give it some dimension. So levels, and I'll just darken it. You see, by doing that, now it looks slightly further away. It doesn't have to be that dramatic, but I feel like that's going to help that hand feel like it's pushed into the distance more in the back, under the shadow of the back of her. And yeah, really good. I feel like apart from that, some of the drawing could probably, I think it's the anatomy, right? I'll just try and make a few little adjustments in Liquify here and show you what I'm talking about with the anatomy. Okay, so I've just made some adjustments here. So before and after, before and after. Now I'll just explain a couple of them. So it was the torso area mainly that I wanted to look at. So before, I feel like just through here, I just feel like the torso needed more mass. So basically I just feel like the torso needed more mass. So before it was just a little too thin through here. I'm trying to think of the structure of where the shoulder is, the chest. See, there's no room for chest here, and the arch in the back. It was just a little flat through there. So what I did was I gave it more mass and I pushed the chest out. We also, using the paint brush, I also feel like I just need to like fade that off slightly. So yeah, just like that. Now that's better. So now we get the rib cage kind of area bulging out a little more. So let me show you before and then after. So that's kind of better, and it continues up, and now you can kind of see the shape of where the breast area goes. Like, it was just the placement of those was just slightly off, because they're kind of sliding over this way a little too much. We want to wrap them around the body a little more. So it's funny talking about it like that, but yeah, you know what I mean. Slight adjustments in the face. So the eye back here, I just felt like that eyebrow needed to be pushed over, and so I did that. A little smirk, slightly. It's not 100% necessary. I just pulled that nose up a little bit. The hair was like kind of adjusted, just I don't know why. I just felt like I needed to fix the shape. Also talking about the ribs here, you see that that little section there? This is anatomy, the anatomy part I wanted to talk about. It was just too smooth before, too perfectly smooth down here. We want some shape in the body, so the ribs comes down into the waist and the abdominal area, so you can kind of really see that structure now in her physique. And I wanted to kind of shape that a little bit more. And then down here, just some structure. And the bottom with the foot, I really wanted to just, that toe area, a little too much of a bulge, and then I picked the heel back up as well, so the heel is now bulging out. But yeah, that's kind of what I recommend on that one. So I hope that helps. And in the original here, you can see a little bit too far off to the left. She's pushed off screen nearly, and that leg and all that stuff. So yeah, hope that helps. Awesome work though. Oh, and this one here. Sorry, I really wanted to I won't talk too much about this one because we did a lot in the other one. So this one here, I'll just mark with some red. What I'll do is I'll just put a white over, like a white sheet over, and fade it down a little bit. And I'll try and just show you, actually we can just use black, roughly what I would recommend in some of this. I feel like this area where her butt is, we could probably, it's just too much of a curve here that's sloping out to the left. If you just round it out more like that even, I feel like that is about right there now. It was just kind of like pulling out to the left too much before. So I love the way the leg's going. This leg looks really good. Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. You know, if you wanted to play around with the line work, you could go, because this leg is under shadow, under here. Personally, I would have went a lot thicker in boldness, not that thick. I'll just do it for a dramatic, so you can really see the difference. But you'd go pretty thick and then up to thin, right? This is just what I would do. Really thin even, and then back to thick again when you get under that one. So you see that volume in lines. I love doing that kind of stuff, and that's just what I recommend. And then as you get up here, we just need a little bit thinner in the ankle, just a little bit. And that's a good way to kind of get some nice balance and have that go through. So again, I think the anatomy is pretty good around here, around this torso area. She just needs a little bit more of a tricep. If you ever look when a girl is pushing at this angle, doesn't matter how thin they are, there's always a nice smooth balance up through the tricep to the shoulder, and it'd be more like that kind of look there. So it just needs a little more mass. So the arm here is probably fine, and then as it goes down a lot thinner, pretty much as you've got it, that's fine. This other leg as well, I feel like it's the foot needs work. So you'd have the heel up, okay, fair bit out this way. You'd have the foot come down. You could just have it, you don't need that bulge there. You just have it kind of coming out, round it off, a little bit of balance through the footwork there, okay, and then thin, and then straight up. That's how I would do it. And you can come down here. So what I would do is, you can continue this line slightly down here. That's where you would have the ankle bone, and then that fades out. Obviously you've got a shoe around it, but yeah, that's how I would have shaped the foot a little bit more there. So I hope that helps there. The rest is really good. Really like it. The hair here gets a little thin. So in order to have that much thickness in the end of the hair, you'd need more thickness around these areas, okay? Otherwise it's kind of just slightly odd to have it go super thin and then out. And that is about it. You'd probably just have a little bit more skull room in the back. The hair here should be about there. That's it. That's all I'll talk about with that one, but I really love your work, Lofty, and you've been nailing it lately. That's really cool. I love both of these, so yeah, nice work. Hope that helps. Alright, next up, we've got Mike, and you've done Chun-Li from Street Fighter. I love this. I think this is really, really great. I mean, have a look at this detail when I zoom in. Look at the work in this. That line work is beautiful, especially around here in the details in the collar. You see that, the way that it's really bold, like I love that kind of stuff. Really bold, and then tapers out to thin in some areas. Like, it's an artist's touch, you know what I mean? That fluidity through it. It just gives it flow. Even through here, really nice and bold, held together, and then you just go nice and thin where the light is hitting that shoulder, and then back round to bold again. And it's really well held together. But you've got a really nice style. The way that you do, everything's held together with these bold lines, and then you've got these really nice, really thin lines for fine details. Have a look at that hand. Really well done. Yeah, this is beautiful. Beautiful work. All right. And the colors as well. The colors are so vibrant and beautiful and popping. I love it. All right. Now, just a little bit of feedback. I would probably work... I love the way she looks. So from here all around this whole area here, beautifully done. I don't have anything to say about all that. So the face, I feel like it just needs a bit of work. I'm going to do a little bit of liquify on it just so you can see what I would personally adjust myself. Now this is also, you need to keep in mind personal opinion. So it's you don't have to take this on, or you can. I just personally feel like her eyes might be too close together, but again, like I said, it could be a personal choice. So I just think the structure of her head slightly needs a bit of work. Let me just look at the preview. So that's the preview. So do you see the spacing? I feel like she just needed some more structure adjustments slightly. Let me look at this. There we go. And if I use the healing tool, it can bring it all, whatever, back to normal. So the nose area was fine. So I'm bringing that back in. And this part here can kind of be pulled back. See, I like the way that's pulled together now. Slightly. Yeah, the ear, I feel like needs to also just kind of slightly be pulled out about there. All right, so just more room in the top of the head here. It's just a more natural kind of feeling to it. And this other eye can also be spaced out slightly more as well. And yeah, basically just more forehead really. A little more room where the forehead area is, and the fringe, I mean. Yeah, that's better. I like the way that's working now. Like that. Okay, there we go. And then buns can kind of be a bit bigger there. Right, so that's that. And I might actually press OK in case I stuff this up. There we go. So before and after. Do you see what I mean? It was just kind of like, I just felt like it needed that kind of work to structure the head. The only other part is I like all this. Let me just slightly make some more liquify adjustments. Now I know Chun-Li in Street Fighter, she always has really muscly legs, and they're really big too in proportion. So than a normal, like the usual kind of anatomy of a female. So hers are always bumped up. But still, I feel like these ones are just a little too far. So you need to have a little, so here before, the mass in this area is too big. So if I were you, I'd probably bring that up a bit more. And you can still have her legs very muscly and big because she's a fierce fighter, you know. I like that other leg is fine. But even that is fine. And I need to get it's called the pucker tool, and it shrinks things. That knee is just slightly too big for me as well, I feel. Alright. So I'll take the size of that knee down slightly. And I just feel like that's going to ease up on a lot of this. I would keep the shape in her hips, that's fine. If anything, you'd probably up this hip more on this side. It needs to be raised up like that. You see that? So now they match on either side. So before and after. You see that? Really helps. Yeah. The other thing is this hand is just a bit too big. Now again, this could be a style choice of yours, but oops, sorry, I think I just changed something. There we go. It could be a style choice, but I would personally like to see it at a more reasonable size. Even slightly bigger than that. And then I would also, the top of the hand, it's just pinched a bit too tight in here. From there to there, a little too unnatural. So I'd bring that over there, and then that there. You see that spacing now is much better and more natural. And that's pretty much right now. I'll just fix a couple of things here and there, back to the way they were, so it fits. There we go. Alright, so have a look at that hand down there. So that was before and after. So the size of her hand was just too big before, and that's really all I wanted to fix up on that. And let me check. So this is the whole before and after. Before and after. And I'll zoom in a bit more. You can look around this area of her legs if you want to. Before, after. Okay, the hip and then the face. Okay, and that is really all I can see. One more little thing. Little quick thing. I'm looking at the area, whoops, of her shoulder. I zoomed in a bit too much. The area of her shoulders here needs just a bit more width, I feel, around this space. Don't worry too much about the neck area and ignore what's going on up top there. I'm about to fix that. Alright, do you see that? That width? So here, we need that part of the shirt. Before, it was just tucked in too much here. So I'd just pull it out more. She needs more mass between the shoulders. And that should do it. The only other slight thing I would have done, you don't have to, but her chest could be more about there, because it's kind of falling off to the side a bit too much this way. Do you know what I mean? But that's just another slight thing. And then the other one could even be pushed out in space more that way. Yeah, but you just need it. You would need to have a little bit more of the lateral area to come up through here. Maybe she's a little too, like, you'd need that waist maybe to come out just a bit wider like this. Now this is not done that well for me, my liquefy kind of little session here, but I just want to show you what it could look like if I go before and after. I don't know, I feel like you could do a bit of half and half. It doesn't have to be exactly like that, but I recommend just the placement, the angle that she's, yeah, I don't know. All I'm trying to say is you can do a bit of half and half like that, like her chest, and then yeah, the placement. Anyway, I'll press OK. Just a couple of things there that you could work on, but apart from that, that's it. Let's leave it there. So before and after. All right, thanks Mike, I hope that helps. You are a very talented person. I love the way this just, I can't get over how good this looks overall, color wise, line work, beautiful. All right, thanks so much. All right, our last critique from Eric. You've done a really cool pin-up here, Poison Ivy, and I like the style because you've got, it's like a very traditional American kind of tattoo design, kind of pin-up girl style, I would say. If you've ever seen those tattoos of American style, yeah, the old like 1920s, 50s rather kind of style. Sorry, that's kind of what it reminds me of. I really like this. It's really cool. I think the line work's looking pretty good. It could be a little more balanced through it, especially when it comes to, say, like the leaves, for instance. I like how it's, see, this is the thing, right? It's, if this was supposed to be kind of like a tattoo, that's good to have them bold lines on the outsides. But a little bit of consistency through, like, or breakthrough is kind of what I'm looking for as well. So you could have a couple of lines coming in like this. Now they don't have to go all the way. So like, let's just say there's a little bit of a shadow under that leaf there or here. And then it starts to look a little bit more deliberate rather than one big outline around the outside. You've done the right thing and continuing this line right through here. Some people kind of have it go on the outside and it stops there and then keeps going, and this would be left. But you've done a good thing there. And again, this is just my advice. You don't have to follow these rules, but I would probably put a couple of black details through some of the leaves there, so it kind of gradually goes in, and it would just look a little nicer overall. So you see here, I'm just going around some of the leaves, and then they go in, and then they're nice, and the outlines on the leaves are bright green as they get to the middle. But from the outside, you can have them kind of gradually kind of creeping in a little bit more. I really think that would top it off and look really quite nice. So that's just a tip there. especially around here. I'd probably do it a little more and then have it creep in like that. All right, so that's one thing I'd probably do. Now I'm looking proportions wise, right? And I think her head might be a little bit small. So let me grab this and I'll just grab, yep, that part there. And I feel like her head just needs to be a bit bigger, just a little bit. It's not huge, not a huge difference, but a little bit bigger. So before and after. That's just my recommendation. I think that's going to fix a lot. Now another thing with the head is I'd probably, with Liquify, I'm just going to size up the top half of the head. So where are we? All right, so this part. I feel like she needs a lot more room in the top part of her head. And mainly the hair as well, a lot more volume. You've already got the hair looking good, but I feel like it needs more. Do you know what I mean? More mass. Now don't worry, I'm going to size back down the ear and such. That's another thing I wanted to talk about, was the ear placement, or let me just fix this bit up here really quick. Back to the way it was. There we go. And the hairline. Even the hairline actually can go where I have it now. So the top part. You need more forehead. Before, it was just, forehead's a little bit too small, but not too much. And then I would bring this hairline back in the way I had it. Alright. So the ear, I feel like we need the jaw to come up, and then the ear can be more deliberately broken out. You know what I mean? Not broken out, but like the ear can be more deliberate. So as before, this jawline is kind of merging with the ear. So it's just makes it look a little off. So if you go up and then out that way, more deliberate, I think that'll look a lot better. The only other thing would be refining. See, I would probably few more details in the ear and such would not hurt. So a few more details here and there, which I can help you with. But again, it's probably part of the style that you're going for this. Like I said, a very traditional tattoo, and they are very simplified, I should say. And it's a deliberate thing, because then they stand out more on a tattoo and such. So there we go. I also feel like this eyebrow, the other one, it's fine, but I think just slightly angle it up and bring it in just a little more. And the back eye should probably be just raised up slightly, possibly a bit bigger. Maybe just, I'm trying to work it out. I think it's okay. The nose, the nostril, I'd probably actually recommend having the nostril kind of brought back a little, just slightly, and smaller too. So more like that. Do you see the difference there? So before and after. So more mass in the hair. So let's press OK and I'll show you. And we'll go, so before and after. See the size of the head and then more mass in the hair. I think that's made a big difference already. I feel like that's kind of what it needed. Now, what else? I'm looking here at this leg, right? I can't help but feel like the line around the back of the leg needs volume. It's just too much of the one tone. If I were you, I'd probably have like a break like this in it. And then the black line can merge up a little bit more like that. You can have it kind of continuing up. I don't know, I just feel like that looks nicer when you do that. You see, just a little bit more balance throughout. And you could do the same throughout the body as well. I would recommend on the top of the tricep area, and then you get back into thicker ink. See, just more balance overall, I think, would go a long way with this. I think it would look really cool, even on the arms and things like that. Just a tip. And even here on the neck, on the way the jaw and the chin there, I'd probably do the same thing there and have that not so thick in the outlines, and maybe let it stay on the outside. You could even nearly have a break in there, like that. You know what I mean? Just kind of looks a little bit nicer when you do that. And placement wise, let's talk about placement. So this plant here, I feel like it's just a little bit further away. There's so much empty space around, which is okay, but I would personally love to see everything kind of a little closer, more deliberate together, even that. And then her more in the middle, down just slightly so that they're more on the ground and there's more around them. So now she's placed a little better. You could even size everything up slightly. I don't know, something like that. Now let me just do the last little few top offs of this so we don't see all the extra mess that I made. Something like that. So I'll merge that. So from the original to now, you see the placement, it just feels a little bit better when you have her more closer. She's a little more personal, she loves the flowers. I don't know, I just like the placement better. And the head size, and the body. See, I like the way you've done all your anatomy, and all of that is fine apart from the head proportion was fine. See, I like the way you've done her arms. Yeah, I like all of that. Now, again, I think if this is going for that style of a tattoo, you probably would keep the outlines black. But if this is more supposed to be a digital art pin-up piece, I'd probably recommend actually colorizing the outlines on some parts. Let me just show you. So if I get like a darker tone that's kind of a skin tone, and I'll size that down, and I'll paint in, like colorize the outlines. This is just something, again, if you're going for more of a digital art vibe, more of a modernized kind of look, you would probably colorize these lines. Oops, ignore that. Oops, did it again. Yeah, so you can colorize them, and I think it looks quite nice when it's done like that. I'll go around the face, and I'll show you in a sec. I'll finish this off. Alright, so if you have a look, I've colorized all of the outlines now. I just feel like it gives it more of an appealing look and more, it's just nicer overall. So there's the black outlines version and then colorized. You see the kind of difference? Just softer overall. Now I'd keep the eyes kind of black. Oops, sorry, my pen just glitched out. Because yeah, it makes the eyes stand out more when you do that. So you can see the hair, it's like more of a red tone around the outlines there, and the green is even a little bit more green around the outlines. Have a look here. So the green, and the legs part, I already did that too. So yeah, I'll zoom out, there we go. So if you did that to all of it, it would look a little softer, a little nice, like pretty nice when you do that. So I manually just painted over the outlines. I selected the outlines alone, and then I painted a darker color of, so if these legs are this lighter green, I made a darker version of that, same color tone, and painted the outlines. And then when you go here, because this green is different from that green, I sampled that and then I darkened it a little bit and then painted those outlines. Same with the skin. I sampled the skin, I darkened it to more of a darker version with slightly a bit of red in it, because anything darker could be more magenta a little bit, and then did the outlines. Same with the hair. So yeah, it's a nice little trick, and I think that can work nicely for stuff like this. That is really it that I would do. So I'll just show you the before and after. So before we started, and then now. So yeah, so I hope that helps, some of those tips there to help push your art a little more. Your proportions are really good. I thought I would just fix the head size and the hair and the head shape, a little bit more forehead. You just need more mass in the top of the head there. And yeah, everything else looks great. Just push them closer together, more centered and deliberate, and it would all, the composition would work much nicer. So yeah, all right, Eric, awesome work. Love this pin-up. Great work. All right, that is it for this monthly project. I really enjoyed going through all of these. We had so many submissions this time. It was great. Really nice to see all of these. I hope you guys all had a lot of fun, guys and gals. And it's always good to try and practice the female form and structure. And, you know, it can be very challenging, but really rewarding. And you all came across with some really great pieces. I love all of these. And so many good artists around here. I love this art community. And and if you're new here and you would like to join in, feel free to jump on board and head over to patreon.com/Patrick Brown. And we always have a monthly art challenge every month. I also have art competitions. And so we've recently got a new thing where the winner, the prize will be that I will basically do a picture for you. So if you win, you'll get to pick the next character draw video that I do, which means you pick a character and I draw it, and then I do a whole video on it of how it's made. So that's the prize for the art competitions. That's a new thing we've introduced. We're trying it out a little bit lately, and that'll be good. So feel free to jump on board. There's heaps of tutorials. I'm always putting out full art videos every fortnight, full of learning. You know, I'm trying to teach and just learn anything that I can that I know. So check it out. Awesome work, everybody. I really love all of these again. And I'm going to release the new the art monthly art project very soon on Patreon. Okay. All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one. See you next time.